Today we're going to talk about figures, which are graphs and images and data tables, and how to put them into your poster as well as how to put them in your paper and make them as efficient as possible so that you can put them in the correct format. You can see that there's a very specific format with these beef livers here. Yummy. The picture has what is called a caption underneath of it that says Figure 2, and it's in bold with a period at the end of it, and then has a description of the picture. This is standardized for every single thing. Even the things that they get from sources, notice that they have Figure 1 description and then the source that they got the picture from. So your job is to be able to show these figures in a way that actually gives the reader some information about the picture without having to ask you about it, because you might be busy otherwise. Another example here has the graph that they had for theirs. The graph itself is not the best graph in the world, but it does give me information about the graph underneath in the caption. They did use a colon instead of a period. I think that's not technically correct, but I want to show you exactly how to do this. So let's say you were using this as your poster template right here, and you wanted to put a picture down here in the bottom left corner. Of course, the way to do that is by inserting an image and finding it in your drive. Let's say you were finding a picture. Oh, let's see if I can find a picture of my dog really quickly here. Maybe not. Okay, I'll just use one of Chloe's really quickly here. Let's say you wanted to insert a picture of the embryos that she has here. You would insert the picture, and you would also insert a text box in your poster, just like this, and it should be about the same size as your picture. Definitely not the same font size. Bring it down. I can't remember off the top of my head what font size it should be. I want to say 14 is the appropriate font size. It should be smaller than the body text. Maybe 18 is the better size here. I believe that's in my guide for making a poster. Anyways, you type in Figure 1 period and explain zebra fish embryos post 24-hour development into somite stage. And I will zoom in on that so you can see exactly what I'm doing. There we go. It looks very, very small, of course, and yes, you can probably change the size of your picture, because right now this picture is nearly 10 inches wide and about 7 inches tall, so you can definitely change the size of your image. If you haven't learned by now, maybe don't use the left and right spanning, because it makes your image shrink in size. Nobody wants that. Don't do that. And once you feel comfortable about your positioning of the size of the caption and the size of the image itself, you select both of them by clicking one, holding Shift and clicking the other, and grouping them together. Now, when I move them, they will move together instead. And I can move it to a different spot entirely. Graphs will work the same way. Tables will work the same way. You just have to make a separate text box. But graphs do something very interesting, as well as tables sometimes. What I would do for that, let's say I have a file that has a graph in it. I'll pull one up here now. There we go. There's my graph. Not a great one, but an okay one. I can copy that graph and actually paste it in here, and it's going to have a pop-up come up and say, should we link it to the spreadsheet or should we paste unlinked? Always link it to the spreadsheet. The reason why is if I put this graph in here and make edits to the graph over here, it will automatically update to show with it. So I can update the text that's inside of it based on the graph that I have from the sheets. I can update the numbers. Let's say I get more data, and that graph updates because of it. I can click update, and the graph updates just like that. Same deal with making a text box underneath, just like so. You might have to play around with the text a little bit to make sure that it looks okay in the poster itself, but that is how you put a graph in there. And the table will do the same thing. It'll ask you if you want to link it to the spreadsheet or not. Always, always, always link it to the spreadsheet. Okay? That way when you change things in the spreadsheet, it changes things on your poster as well. Now, what if you wanted to do that in your paper, such as your scientific paper that you're writing? You do mostly the same thing. Let's say we go to drawing this time and new. What this does is it makes you a canvas instead of just putting an image in there. That way you can insert an image. Here's my photos. Let's say this one of Becca. Okay, too big, never mind. Okay, this one of me and Mr. Gunnasingham. Or just me, apparently. Okay, just me. Put the image in there, and then you can put a text box directly underneath, and they'll be paired together when you move them around in your paper. So, figure 1, Mr. S. You do want the figure 1 to be bolded right there. When you hit save and close, now I can move that picture wherever I want, and the caption stays with it. I can even make that picture smaller, and the caption gets smaller with it. Break the text, yada yada. You know how pictures work. The graph should work the same. Copy chart. Back to the paper. If I insert the graph there, it'll ask me if I want to link it to the spreadsheet. I do. Again, we'll need to update the graph right away so that we can get it the right sizing for the text, but the text might need to be manipulated anyways because it's the same graph from your poster, so you want to make sure it's as close as possible. You'll still want to insert a text box, so that means that you'll have to insert a new drawing and just do a text box on its own. Figure 2 graph, like that. And that should go with your graph. I think I did it on top of the graph, so the graph is gone. Where's the paper? There it is. Boom. Link. There. Now we can move the caption right up next to it. It might seem counterintuitive to have a caption for a graph like this. However, you do want to make sure that you have a caption that tells us the story of the graph, because you want the information to be delivered as efficiently as possible. And if you have a graph that is in any way questionable, people are going to be staring at it and trying to tell what the data means, and they're going to discount anything that you say in the graph because you didn't put it in a good enough way. If you give yourself a caption, it tells us more without having to worry about it. Okay? Sure, you could have regular text underneath this graph and tell me the figure there, but I think pairing them together makes it a whole lot easier overall. Okay? Questions? Let me know.